dandelion seeds was originally smart dust-sized cameras floating around like dandelion seeds, was originally conceived as a weapon. The idea was that helicopters and drones could drop smart dust into the air, and that would serve as a battlefield sensor network. Researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, announced they'd expanded on the concept by creating something called stim dust. Stim dust gives the operator control over your nervous system. According to a press release, stim dust has, quote, opened the door for wireless communication to the brain and peripheral nervous system through tiny implantable devices inside the body that are powered by ultrasound. The researchers successfully implanted stim dust in a live rodent. They were able, by doing this, to, quote, control hind leg motion. Today, the world is watching you. Tomorrow, the world could be controlling you like a video game character. Smart dust-sized.
Hey, everything is possible with this man at this point. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and the few sisters out there onto this like foreigners. From the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in Hebrew, which means peace, which this is all includes to the mass control of the people. And everything is possible. When the Lord allowed this man, his blessing, it goes far beyond we can imagine. Let me go into it. Genesis 27 and 38. And Esau said unto his father, how's that but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. Which, that was the other video. It doesn't matter. Which everybody should know about the HEART program. Not only can they control the weather, and also can mess you up. Which everybody has moments where collectively people will get sick. Collectively people will feel something that's not really there. This is part of this man's blessing. All right. There was an episode in the anime Invincible, where they was trying to fight off the antagonist, I believe it is, or the protagonist, whatever, which was Miss Omni-Man. They shot him with a weapon, and it so happens to be called the DEW, short for Direct Energy Weapon. All right, and they have 144 in there too. But this technology is real. So how much more of them changing the weather or be able to monitor people? Things going into your lungs, putting microchips in your food. All these things, this man has this ability, and it all goes onto this one next verse. It says, and by thy sword shall thy live. Sword, it could go from a gun, a knife, chemical warfare, biological warfare, you name it, they have that ability to do it because it's part of their blessing. All right. This is part of their blessing. Nothing should amaze us. This is why we need divine intervention. Anybody out there think they could fight this thing off on their own? More power to you. All I know is, when shit hits the fan, only one I could ever rely on is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. That's the attitude I'm going to have, Lord willing, to that moment. Because, shit, the Lord really gave this man a whole bunch of shit to play with. Literally gave him a whole plethora of abilities that if we didn't have the Lord, we will all be destroyed, all be lost. All right? Because we will all be hopeless. You know, if you explain this to the average person, out there, the ability that Esau has. That was Carson Tucker. Okay. Yeah, he's the opposition and all this other stuff, but he brings out information. Certain like the dude was something that information been out. All right. Every other thing we're just finding out publicly. If you really think about it, if you don't believe in the higher power, you're doomed. I mean, straight up. Because you would think that this man has all the power in the world. You have no hope. But we have hope. And our hope is in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to combat this man and the gifts that the Lord gave him. He didn't come up with these elaborate thoughts. And please, he was given it. It says Ezekiel 28 and 3. Matter of fact, I saw that too. Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because thy heart is lifted up, thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas. So they have a God complex, right? They believe that they're gods. And the ones that lead that whole movement, that whole race of people, the tiny hat wearers, they believe that everybody is a goyim, and goyim means cattle. What do you do with cattle? You slaughter cattle. You can eat cattle. You can slaughter cattle. You can do whatever you want. They believe that every single person in life right now is subject to them, and they could do as they will. That's the reality of this thing of ours. All right. You have a delusional being who believes that he's in a position of power, endless power, that he can do whatever he wants, however he wants, to whomever he wants. This is why he gathered the people. The sea it speaks of, talking about the sea of people. That's Revelations the 17th chapter. Right? In order for them to have this power, they have to create a system. And the system that they must create has to embody empower themselves. See, with all this technology that they have, it would be nothing without this actual system. All right, without electricity, without infrastructure, without a plan, they wouldn't have nothing. And we still haven't got and the only reason why the RFID trip is not mandatory because they still building up the data centers. They have to get everybody off the streets, enforce 15-minute cities all over the place. All right, they have to do these things to empower, to embolden themselves. It says, yet thou art a man and not God. So, despite they have this masterful plan that they have, they still men, they still flesh, they still could die. All right, they walk around like they shit don't stink. Well, they shit stink. They shit. Everything about them is pungent and evil. And they are the wicked. And it says, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. So their mind is a God like. All right. That's when you read let me get that real quick. I'm going straight to the point. Man, let me use the other one. Use this one. Isaiah 14 and 12. The heart that fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. And Lucifer doesn't mean the spiritual demon Satan. All it means is light bearer. What light? The knowledge, the hidden knowledge. They hide the knowledge from the world. What they think they hide knowledge from the world, right? And they have the light. They have the solutions, and that's all they presented to the masses has always been they have it all. They have all the answers. They have all the solutions. That's what you call preeminence. They're in the position of a god, right? How that cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations. So now, and then when you go into the Hebrew, it's halal, which means the king of Babylon. So they walk and talk and present themselves as they are gods. And gods is another word term, not only in an angelic way, but also a judge. They are the judges of the world. This is why they say, "Oh, this nation can go here, that nation can do," because they sit as judges, right? And it says, "For that has said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north." And the congregation in the sides of the north is talking about here in North America. Who they sitting over? The true stars of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which is who? You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the biblical Israelites. That's who they sitting over, right? So I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So putting smart dust or how he says stagnant dust and all this other shit, they've been plotted this shit out. They want to block out the sun. They want to create a a world that enforces the artificial intelligence that they have. And they want to be above that artificial intelligence to be as gods. Now let's really analyze it. If you can control a supercomputer to your liking in a world where you fabricated, like when you watch that episode of uh it's Twilight Zone. It'll come back to me, but it was one of the illest, one of the illest, the best, one of the best episode ever. It's gonna come to me. It's gonna come to me. It's gonna come to me quick. And it was them, the government, the state saying to a librarian that your job is obsolete man. See, I knew it was gonna come. Wadi Al Bashim Yal shot. Obsolete man. And the government decides whose life is important, who brings value to their new world. And the character was basically saying, "Who are you? You're not a god." And the guy's back and forth was that the government proved that God doesn't exist. This episode was probably in the 1950s, 1960s. I'm not too sure, but it was hitting on a point, and it was hitting it to the point of today, right? Where you have a government that doesn't believe in a higher power. The only higher power is them. All right, and government means mind control. So they created a large government to control the minds of the people. This is why most people, when it was the C-19, they believe everything that they seen with their own eyes. After 9/11, the government had gotten bigger. I was discussing with a relative of mine, and we were just, going back, not going back and forth. Through the spirit, been doing this for a minute, and it started to click in that my relative's mind. He said, when you think about it, TSA didn't exist, but after 9/11, a lot of government jobs did not exist, but after 9/11. So now they want to shrink it and put AI over it. Then they're going to dictate to the people what to eat, how to think, how to move. They've been doing this fear tactic for so long. So it's nothing for them, all right? Because they already have the majority of the minds of the people. When people got that C-19, they already was duped. They was already done. They was done for. They already proved what the statistics was. Either you getting taken out immediately or in the long run be affected. But every single person that got in that shit spoke to some of them. They regret it. All right. They regret it. And not they regret it because they know there was a bigger plot. So when that RFID microchip takes hold, it's gonna be so easy for the people to fall for it. All right. So this man is placing himself as a god. Okay. Let me go back to this. Ezekiel 28:3 says, "Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There's no secret that they can hide from thee." And this is why they watching you, like how Tucker Carlson said in that video. They watching you. Then they want to control you. See, with the RFID microchip, putting it into people's foreheads, now you have mind control. If it's just your hand, they can't control your mind. But if it's in your skull, they can control you. All right. So there's no secret. They have the technology to look into people's dreams, to figure the dream out because of what? The technology that they have. That it was granted. The Lord granted this man plenty of power within one blessing. So if all these things are happening and we are shocked and like, yo, how are we gonna get out of this situation? Imagine when the Lord's chosen people, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, imagine when we get to our true selves, what we can be able to do with the Lord with us. The Lord is against this man. He just helping this man forward his prophecies, being the whipping stick. So how much more? And how about Shem Yahushai, man? Wow. We had always at the Lord. So with thy wisdom and with thy understanding, that has gotten the riches. And that's what all this thing is about, is getting riches. Riches are not paper money. Riches are landmarks, real estate, gold, silver, things of that nature. All right. Every single thing that you could think of. Human trafficking. This man has gotten riches over. He outsmarted people. Everybody's in what's the word I'm looking for? No, not everybody. Maritime law, the law of the sea. That's why it says the sea of the people. So the human body is just a docking. You could infiltrate. This man has used ancient science to enrich himself. Right? The technology to trap everybody. Like I said, all this does prove is that there is a higher power. Because this caveman, how the hell this caveman out of all people, a caveman can do so much damage in this short period of time? It's gonna have to be a divine intervention on the left hand side. When you go to what, Matthew's the 4th chapter and Luke the 4th chapter, Satan told the Lord to bow. And now we know that was given an indication that Satan was gonna rule in this world. Anybody that obey him was gonna get gifted. And boy, oh boy, his children is wreaking havoc. And it says, and gotten these riches, and has gotten gold, silver into thy treasures by thy by thy great wisdom, and by thy traffic has thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of nations, and they shall draw their swords against thee, against thy beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. And how are they going to defile their brightness? By the ICBM nuclear missiles. The greatest flex that this man has was his blessing was this ICBM nuclear missiles. All right, to be able to shoot arrows from one part of the world to another part of the world, and and to wipe out a whole continent. Now it was three major powers in the beginning. Now several powers or nations that have this ability. So you devils, you're gonna die like the pieces of shit that you are. You are gonna die like men. You're gonna die like the sons of men, the sons of the wicked that you was claimed to do. This is the whole purpose of everybody having that ability. You think you're the great hunter? You think you're the one that can outsmart every living thing? You know, you create flies, digital flies. I said digital flies, fly androids, bees, and so forth. You created all these things, and for what? Because you think you're a god? Nah, you're gonna die like a piece of shit that you are. And that's the promise of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And how great a fall is gonna be. All right. A man that had everybody in fear of him. Everybody looking at this man like he is it. He is everything that he said he is. The world's turning on him, and the Lord is gonna ultimately wipe him out. It says they shall bring thee down to the pit. They and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. So you're gonna die ordinary. And guess what? Those that doesn't make it, who's not part of the elect, that's in America, you're gonna die in a sea of fire, being cooked up. Right? You're gonna be cooked up. Ain't no coming out of that situation. And when you get up, you're gonna be newborn babes into captivity. That's all you're gonna know. It says, "Will thou yet say before him that slay thee, I am a God? But thou shalt be a man, and no God, in the hand of him that slayeth thee." So your mortality is going to be proven. Your empire is going to be destroyed. Your riches are going to be taken away from you. And the very power of your blessing, that's why the Lord said what he said, and was what? Those that live by the sword shall die by the sword. The same sword that you have that was gifted to you is going to be your end. With that being said, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.